It was a quiet Friday afternoon in a brand new neighborhood. The kind of street where the paint still smells fresh, where the landscaping is perfectly trimmed, where everything looks like a fresh start. For 27-year-old Ashley Okland, it was just another work day. She was a real estate agent, driven, warm, the kind of person her colleagues described as the heart of the office. She had unlocked the door to a model townhouse in West Des Moines, Iowa, and she was alone inside. That was April 8th, 2011. Ashley never walked back out of that house under her own power. She was shot twice, left to bleed out on the floor of a home she was trying to sell. And for 15 years, nobody was charged. No arrest, no motive, just silence, grief, and a family left searching for answers that never came. Until March 2026, when a grand jury handed down an indictment that would shake everyone who thought they knew this case. The person accused of pulling that trigger? Someone who had worked side by side with Ashley Okland. Someone who smiled at her in the office. Someone hiding in plain sight. To understand what was lost on that April afternoon, you have to understand who Ashley Okland was. Born and raised in Iowa, Ashley was 27 years old in 2011, young, ambitious, and genuinely beloved by everyone who knew her. She had built a career in real estate, working for a residential development company in the Des Moines area. By all accounts, she was exceptional at her job, the kind of agent who made clients feel at ease, who remembered your name, who actually cared whether you found the right home. She was more than a colleague to the people she worked with. She was a friend. She brought warmth to the office. She was someone people counted on. Her family described her as radiant, a daughter, a sister, a friend to many. She had her whole life ahead of her, a career building momentum, people who loved her deeply, and in an instant, all of it was stolen. Not by a stranger who wandered in off the street, or so investigators would ultimately come to believe, but by someone far closer, someone in her world, someone she may never have suspected. On the afternoon of April 8th, 2011, Ashley Okland was working at a model townhouse in a residential development in West Des Moines. Model homes like this are a routine part of real estate work. You unlock the property, you wait for potential buyers, you answer questions, and show them around. There is nothing unusual about being alone inside. It is simply part of the job. But on that particular Friday, something went terribly wrong. At some point during the afternoon, shots were fired inside that townhouse. Ashley was struck twice. A nearby employee of the development company, someone working on the property, heard what they described as a commotion coming from inside the model home. They went to investigate. What they found was devastating. Ashley Okland collapsed on the floor, gravely wounded. Emergency services were called immediately. She was rushed to Methodist Medical Center in Des Moines. She did not survive. Ashley Okland was pronounced dead that same day. She was 27 years old. The model home she had unlocked that morning became a crime scene by afternoon. Yellow tape where open house signs should have been. Investigators where buyers should have walked. And an entire community left asking, who did this? And why? West Des Moines police launched an immediate investigation. Detectives canvassed the neighborhood. They interviewed witnesses. They searched for surveillance footage, for physical evidence, for anything that could point them toward a suspect. In the days and weeks that followed, a picture began to emerge, but it was frustratingly incomplete. There was no obvious motive. Ashley had no known enemies, no threatening history, no clear reason for anyone to want her dead. Investigators looked at everyone who might have had access to that model home. Buyers who had visited, contractors who worked the site, people connected to the development company. Tips came in from the public. Leads were chased down. Some were promising. Most went nowhere. The Des Moines metropolitan area, the media, and the broader true crime community became fixated on the case. It received significant regional news coverage. Vigils were held. Ashley's family publicly pleaded for information. The reward for tips climbed. And yet, nothing conclusive emerged. No arrest was made. The investigation remained open, quietly churning in the background as months turned into years. Investigators insisted they had not forgotten Ashley Okland, that they were still working the case. But to the outside world, and to her family, the silence was deafening. A year passed, then 2, then 5. The Ashley Okland case became one of Iowa's most haunting unsolved murders. The case went cold in the way that cold cases do. Not all at once, not with any formal declaration, but gradually, as leads dried up and the media moved on, and the world kept spinning while one family stood still. For Ashley's loved ones, there was no moving on. No chapter closed. No justice. Just an open wound and a name on an unsolved case file. In the true crime community, the Okland case was discussed obsessively. Theories circulated. Was it a random act of violence? Was she targeted? Did someone follow her to that model home? Did someone know she would be alone? Every theory raised more questions than it answered. What made this case so maddening was the apparent absence of motive. Real estate agents do occasionally face danger on the job. Showing properties alone is a recognized occupational risk. Some wondered if Ashley had simply been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Others were convinced this was deeply personal. Someone had a reason. Someone had planned this. And that someone, for 15 years, walked free. They went about their days. They may have attended events, held jobs, lived among the same communities Ashley's family called home. For 15 years, justice waited. March 2026. 15 years after Ashley Okland's death, something extraordinary happened. A Polk County grand jury, the legal body that reviews evidence and decides whether charges should be filed, returned an indictment. First-degree murder. The charge that carries the maximum weight the state of Iowa can bring. And the name attached to that indictment was not what anyone expected. Kristin Ramsey, a 53-year-old woman. Not a drifter, not a stranger, not someone investigators had chased across state lines. Kristin Ramsey was someone who had worked at the same development company as Ashley Okland. She had been employed there as an administrative assistant and sales manager. She and Ashley had shared the same professional orbit, the same office building, possibly the same conversations, the same coworkers, the same company events. The news hit like a shockwave. After 15 years of silence, Iowa prosecutors were saying they had enough evidence to bring a murder charge, and the accused was a colleague. Someone who had presumably sat through the shock and grief of Ashley's death alongside everyone else. Someone hiding in plain sight the whole time. The question that had haunted this case for a decade and a half, who did this, and why, suddenly had a name attached to it. What investigators found, and how they found it after so many years, has not been fully disclosed publicly. Grand jury proceedings in Iowa are sealed. But what is clear is that the cold case unit had never stopped working. Something broke open, and now the wheels of justice are turning. Let that sink in for a moment. If the indictment is correct, and it is important to emphasize that Kristin Ramsey has been charged, not convicted. She is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But if the grand jury's findings hold up, the person who shot Ashley Okland was someone who knew her. Someone who sat across from her, or down the hall. An administrative assistant. A sales manager. Someone embedded in the very business Ashley was building her career in. The question of motive is one prosecutors will ultimately need to address at trial. What was the relationship between these two women beyond the professional? Was there a conflict? A grievance? Something that escalated into the unthinkable? Court documents and discovery materials may illuminate those answers in the months ahead. But the fact that 15 years passed without an arrest, when the alleged perpetrator was, by all indications, known to investigators all along, raises profound questions. Was Ramsey interviewed in the early investigation? Was she a person of interest? Was there evidence that took time to surface or technology that took time to develop? Prosecutors in Iowa do not bring first-degree murder charges lightly. Grand juries do not indict without cause. Some piece of evidence, some testimony, some forensic breakthrough, convinced a panel of citizens that there was probable cause to believe Kristin Ramsey killed Ashley Okland in that model home on April 8, 2011. The full story of how this case cracked open after 15 years is one the courtroom will eventually tell. As of May 2026, the case against Kristin Ramsey is moving through the Iowa court system. The arraignment and pretrial proceedings are expected to unfold in the coming months, with a trial date yet to be formally announced at the time of this video. We will keep you updated in the comments section as developments emerge, so if you're watching this after publication, check the pinned comment below for the latest. For Ashley Okland's family, this moment, the indictment, the arrest, the name finally attached to the crime, must be almost impossible to process. 15 years is a long time to carry grief without resolution. 15 years of attending events where others speak of justice, of watching other families find answers while yours waits. The family has not spoken extensively in public about the indictment, and that silence is understandable. This is not over yet. An indictment is not a conviction. A trial is still ahead. There will be defense arguments. There will be evidence presented and challenged. The justice system will do what it is designed to do. But for the first time since April 8, 2011, there is a path forward. There is an answer on the horizon. Ashley Okland was 27 years old. She unlocked a door one Friday afternoon and never came home. She deserved better than 15 years without justice. Whatever the outcome of this trial, whatever a jury ultimately decides, Ashley's name will not be forgotten, and the people who loved her will finally have the chance to see this through. If you found this story as haunting as we did, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. We cover cold cases and true crime stories that deserve to be told. And leave a comment. Do you think this case will result in a conviction? Let us know below.